Chit Chat Kit Kats. Well, today I have the last of the things being delivered. 2 puppy jackets are coming today. Yeah, puppy jackets. Miss Lily saying, "You're talking about me? You're talking about me?" Yeah, you're getting new clothing today. Yeah, you're getting new jackets. Yeah. Miss Lily's getting a purple jacket and Mr. Mickey's getting a red jacket. Yeah, these are really nice jackets. I had them for my other puppies before. Their jackets and the harness is built into the jackets, so it's very easy to put it on them and take them out. So they're getting their cold weather gear today. Yes. We already went out this morning. Now, I was sitting here this morning, and I didn't even say anything. I was thinking it. And you know, the minute I thought it, these 2 popped up. So now they're reading my mind. Yeah. Say, well, we're very smart, you know, Mama. We're very, very smart. Yes, Mr. Mickey, loving on Mama. Yeah, you're such a little love bug, you are. So they went and they had their goodie already this morning. But today, the last of the things are coming. Oh, one other thing I want to do, though. I want to go down and check my tires and see about the tread level and things. Because you definitely don't want to be going out there and then hitting snow and slush and all of that and having tires that are not optimum. So I've been looking at different tire ones, but some of the ones I like don't fit my vehicle. So, and then the ones that I have on there now, the AT3 Falcon all-terrain, they've changed the tire. So now their all-terrain tire is heavier duty and a lot heavier weight. So the tires are really, really heavy. I mean, I think you lose some gas mileage on them, and they're not as good in the snow, the new ones that they done. So I've been looking around. Usually I put on the all-terrain because I do the forest roads and stuff as well. And the ones that I've had on there now, the Falcon Wild Peaks, they've been really quite good. But like I said, they've changed the tire now to a much heavier duty tire. And the weight of the tires has really extremely increased because it's for more heavy duty all-terrain vehicles, for very heavy ones. So it would not be optimum for my Prius any longer. I don't think so. And like I said, even though they've got the snow rating and stuff as well, they don't work as well in the snow because it's a much heavier duty tire. Now there was one that looked like it was good, but they don't make it in the size for my car. There were a couple of them I was looking at. So I'm in the debate, you know, do I just get regular tires instead of doing the all-terrain? I'm kind of in the conundrum of trying to figure out what is the best thing for me. Because you don't want to be out there doing an off-road trail and then have a tire, you know, blowout because you're going over rocks and things and your tire is, you know, not all-terrain. So you definitely don't want to do that. So again, I'm just sitting here trying to go through all these different tire brands, doing a lot of research, and trying to figure out what's the best one to put on. Unless I change the tire size again and get new wheels, new rims. Because I did put a little larger tire on. I went to a 16 instead of a 15. Now with that, you lose a little bit of your gas mileage when you do that, but I got more ground clearance. Okay. So anyway, that's the kind of the conundrum I'm in today, trying to figure out before I hit on the road again. I do want to go have and check, you know, for the tire tread, because I've really, I'm at the end of the warranty for the tires. I've done over 60,000 miles on those tires already. Yeah. So it should be about the time to change them. But like I said, I've got to go in and have the tire tread checked and see where I'm at with it. They'd still look like, you know, they still look good. But I'm going to have that checked today or tomorrow. I'm not sure if they're open today. I have to check and see. And do a little bit more research on the tires and stuff. I want ones that are good for the snow and the rain, which is kind of difficult. If they're good for the snow, sometimes they're not real great for the rain. Yeah. Especially if they're all-terrain tires, because that's usually a more stiff type of a tire. So yeah, trying to figure that out. What am I going to do with this, with my tires? Yeah, I might be ready to change them up just to, you know, just to make sure. So that's the things that I'm dealing with and wanting to get on the road again. Take off. You know me, I love to be on the road. I'd much rather be on the road than be in the house. In fact, sometimes I just go in and get in my little car and go over by the mountain and spend the night. And I'm sure that a lot of people go, why would you do that when you've got a perfectly good house and bed and everything? You know, are you more comfortable in your house? And that's like, no, not really. Okay, I'm an odd duck, maybe. Maybe I'm just an odd person, but I do love being in my little cosmic gypsy space. It's, for me, it's quite comfortable. Not that the house is not comfortable. It is. It's comfortable here. It's nice. It's big. But, you know, I like to be out where I can see nature, wake up, and see a beautiful sunrise, a beautiful sunset. You know, for me, that's the best. The best. And to be on the road and see all the different scenery. Now, there's one guy out there, I've watched his video. He's really good. Let's see, what is the name of his channel? It's, the ethnic nomad. Okay, ethnic nomad. He's this black gentleman, and he is just engrossed by the scenery. He loves it so much. He is so fun to watch because he just absolutely is enthralled by the scenery and being out in nature. And, you know, that's what it's about. Loving that, you know. And just every place he goes, he's just like, you know, captivated by it. And so he's really a lot of fun to watch. Really, he's got such a great outlook. And, yeah, got a really good outlook on things. And just enjoys the travel and enjoys the scenery. And I can relate. That's my thing. I love driving. I love seeing all the new scenery, seeing new places. You go through some of those little bitty old towns, and you just wonder sometimes, what were people like in the past that lived there? You could see those towns have a lot of history. Some of these really old buildings, you see houses that are like over 100 years old. I mean, really old, or one that's abandoned, that's been there. You see out on the prairie some really old thing that's been abandoned, and you wonder, what was life like? What were the people like that had lived there? What was their life journey? And for me, that's just fascinating to wonder, what are all the stories that these places hold? So while some people love to be homebodies, they just love their, there, and maybe they're into baking and cooking and making bread, and if I can't bake bread to save my life. I cannot make bread. My mother used to make the most fabulous bread, homemade bread, pies, cakes, all of that. She was such a great cook. And there was nothing better than coming in as a child. And she had baked fresh bread, and you smell that fresh bread, and the bread is still warm, and you put butter on it. It was so good. Or when she's making pies and had the extra crust left over, and she would make the little pinwheels out of it with the sugar and cinnamon, and make those little pinwheel type cookie things. So good. That was one thing about my mother. She was a really good artist. She painted sometimes, decorated. She had a great singing voice. Yeah, there was nothing she couldn't do. She made clothing. She was sewing. She was just, maybe it's in my genes, but I can't sew. I can't put a zipper in to save my life. My downfall is zippers. Now I have done sewing. I've done, some things that I made just on my own, and that was okay, but I can't do a zipper. No, just no. Not happening. But I do love all the art things, like all the art stuff that's in here. Most of it's all my stuff. These are, photography things that I've done, artwork, and some of them are paintings. And, you see me decorate my place here. I like doing decorating, painting, all of that stuff. For me, artwork is fun. Either I'm out enjoying a journey, traveling, or I'm doing artwork and stuff. I enjoy that as well. But that's why I changed the Cosmic Gypsy around. Every few months I go through and redecorate, change things. Now, my house here, at first I had it was Native American. I had that all Native American stuff in here, indigenous type things, and now I have it more Oriental, Japanese type stuff, very Zen feeling. So yeah, with the fountains and the other stuff in here, which just for me, I like, I'm always enjoying doing decorating, changing things up, etc. For me, it's enjoyable. Okay, and I have decorated a number of people's houses before, Also, I've done clothing styles for people. Yeah, business things, help them pick out business wardrobe. So I've done that as well. Anything that has to do with artistic things, I really enjoy. I enjoy doing that. But now, again, I'm looking forward to being on the road again. And I did change things up in the Cosmic Gypsy. I took out my summer things and I put in my Ugg boots and I put in the snow thing for the front window. And like I said, I'm going to check out the tires today or tomorrow. I'm doing some more research and figuring out what is the best tire for all around for what I'm going to be doing. So that's the process today. That's what I'm up to. Now, as far as, the person that I was talking about, the thing about being so upset because they didn't heart their... They contacted me 2 more times and gave a half-hearted apology in a way, and then as sticking the knife in you and trying to turn it again. So it was, a kind of a self-justification. Well, I've been in pain lately, but, yeah, I'm not the only one that's got the fragile ego. So, it was the justification, self-justification, and drama on the way out. Whatever. There's the door. Don't let it hit you in the ass on the way out, okay? People. Yeah. Anyway. That's what's going on today. I'm going to repack the clothing. I need to go out there and look at what I've got packed in there for clothing and repack that because the seasons are changing. I don't need the real, lightweight stuff. I will keep one thing in there really lightweight. I'll take one of those dresses that are really lightweight. But then I want to do more autumn type stuff. Maybe some things like this. And then I got some long sleeve ones that I can wear with these as well for warm. So we'll see. I got to go through there and look at what I'm taking for clothing and switch that around. And then I'm ready to go again. Yeah, ready to hit the road. Where I'm going, I don't know. Now, last year, I did go up to Maine. I had never been to Maine, and I did go up and saw the fall colors. I was there at just the right time and really enjoyed going up to Maine. Somebody the other day asked me, well, how far have you gone? Where have you gone? Oh, I went to Maine. I went to Washington. They were just like, what? I lived in Florida. I've gone to all corners of the U.S. and most everywhere in between. The only place I haven't been yet is Washington, D.C. I have not been to Washington, D.C., but most everywhere else in the U.S. I've been, either driving through there, exploring, or living there. I've lived in Kansas, I've lived in Wisconsin, Washington, Florida, Arizona, New Mexico. I've lived a lot of places. I even went to a one-room schoolhouse at one point. Yeah, in Wisconsin, I went to a one-room schoolhouse. Shows how old I am. Yeah, that's when I was pretty young. I went to a one-room schoolhouse. Yeah. But I've lived so many places. California. I really did love California. And Washington and Oregon. Astoria. I love Astoria up in Oregon. Yeah. I was there for a short time and lived as well. I moved in, and the night I moved in, there was a bat that got in my... It was a bat that got into the bedroom. And, you know, I just turned out the lights, went to bed, and there was another bat that kept coming. Now, I had these jealousy-type window things. It finally did find its way back out. It did have another bat that kept coming up to the window, trying to, you know, get them, but they did find out coming out. Now, the place in Astoria, they had wild peacocks there that would come and scream in the mornings. These screaming peacocks. I couldn't believe it. Wild, crazy peacocks. And the other odd thing, when I lived in California in West Hollywood, I was right next to that great big huge park that they have there. I can't remember the name of the park. But I had just moved in there. I had a studio apartment. I loved that place. One of my favorite places. And I thought at night there was this dog roaming. It wasn't a dog. It was a coyote. Coyote running the streets. And one time I came home, there's this big fat waddling down the road, a skunk. Yeah, it's a hefty guy. I said, just take your time, I'll wait for you. And he's just kind of waddling down the way. And then the other place that I lived that I really loved was in Hawaii on the west shore. I lived right on the beach. I had, again, another little studio area, and I would go out in the mornings and just snorkel out there. But, you know, that was back when Hawaii was so much nicer than it is now. Now it's just, you know, touristy stuff. But back then they used to have people out playing music all the time, and you'd go drive around the island. They'd have huli chicken that you'd stop and get. It was so good, huli chicken. But it's changed. You know, it's changed so much. It used to be so much nicer. Now, I had really crazy experience. When I lived in Hawaii, I met this guy. He used to be a policeman, and then he was running guns. Yeah. Running guns. He went from being a policeman to running guns. Don't ask me how I meet these people. But I met all sorts of crazy people, you know. Also living in India for 5 years. You take the little train up from Siliguri up to Darjeeling up there. So we've been to Darjeeling, and it is cold up there all year. All year it is freezing up in Darjeeling. And then Dharamsala, you know. So I've been so many places. Taiwan, Japan, okay. Had so many experiences in my life. And like I said, I enjoy traveling. I enjoy different cultures. And that's just me. Okay? I think I've lived about 5 lifetimes in this one. When I talk about my experience, people can't believe I've done all those things. But, yeah, I have done so many things, lived so many places. Sometimes I wonder if I'm not living in 2 different dimensions at the same time because I don't know how anybody could have had all the experience and lived as many places as I've lived within one lifetime. It's insane. But yeah, it's all happened for sure. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to get off of here, check out some YouTube, see what's going on, and do some more research on tires, etc., and figure out what I'm doing next. Where am I going? I don't know. I don't usually have some sort of a plan. You know, I just take off. So on that note, I'll leave that here. We'll see you online.